into the subject of using and back to the theme of the conference, autonomous. And Peter Tyreholt, you are a senior advisor at Cybercom.
Yes.
So please make your show.
Yes, thank you. Can everybody hear me? Good. So my name is Peter Tyreholt. I work at Cybercom here in Gothenburg. I'm part of a group at Cybercom that we call Advisory Services. And even though I'm an engineer, my focus is not technology. I focus on the combining technology and business knowledge. So I really love business models and how new technology can enable big changes in industries. So in my day-to-day work today, I look a lot on connectivity and how that will change industries, what happens when you combine the physical world with the digital world. Our traditional product companies looking at what should we do, what will our market be, what will our customer value be when we put connectivity into our products. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. But today I will talk a little bit about the next step, autonomous. And as I see it, the next enabler for business model disruption. The problem here around disruption is that it's a highly misused word. It can mean a lot of things, but for me, disruption is when an industry is restructured, the value network of an industry is changed. Often it is that you can deliver the customer value at a much lower price by doing it in a different way. So this is what I will talk about today. And I will take you through a little bit journey. I will also start with a short historic perspective, what has happened in the form of disruptions due to connectivity. I will then just briefly go through what the business model is for me and how autonomous capability will affect that business model. And then at the end, I will take one stretch example for one industry and what that could mean for that industry. But before we can do this, let's just put the definition for what I at least mean with autonomous. So autonomous system, application or machine can independently change its behavior in response to unanticipated events to perform its intended task. So it's not automation, it's beyond automation. And of course we already have things today which do autonomous things within certain boundaries. You have the robot vacuum cleaner. I don't know how many of you that have seen the one in the middle, but it's Amy. It's a booking assistant. I really would like to have that one, but it's only invitation trial so far. And then of course what a very public project is Google's self-driving cars. All examples of autonomous behavior in the world today. But let's look back a little bit. Somewhere 94, 95, you started to get speed in that we connected places, driven by the PC, dial-up internet, and the invention of the World Wide Web. From that, we got a number of innovations and disruptions of markets. You got the Amazon that restructured the book industry. You got Apple in combination with their iPod restructured how we consume and distribute music. And a later addition to this is Airbnb, who changed the hotel industry by connecting the people that own a house with the people that needs a place to stay during a vacation. The next phase is when we as people got connected, when we got mobile internet in our hands. It started somewhere to become popular around 2005, 2006, and it really accelerated with iPhone, with Android, and when we got 4G. But here we got the different kinds of services that disrupted industries. You of course have Uber, which is on everybody's mind today. Uber disrupts not only the taxi business, but they disrupt car ownership. You have services like Instagram and the smartphone camera. Those together have changed the ways how we take pictures and how we share the experience with our friends. And the next phase, the one that I work with on every day, it's when we connect the physical world with the digital world, the products around us. We have, of course, done that as long as we have had the internet, but it's really taking off since a couple of years. But here, we haven't really seen the true disruptions yet. We have seen very good product executions and some bad product executions, but we haven't really seen the disruptions. For me, I think the healthcare could be one of those, wearables and the healthcare industry. And with all the investments in the smart home, some disruption must happen there, I hope. Otherwise, somebody's burning a lot of money. But the next step after this, for me, is when we connect activities. And when we connect a series of activities without human interaction, then we get autonomous behavior. And here, it's still up for grabs what will be the true disruptions. But I think here's even more potential on this in this stage. So, I talk about disruption as something that changed the business model and not just technology. So, if it's not technical innovation, but business model innovation, what is then a business model? And the most common answer I get when I talk about this with companies, oh, it's the revenue streams. But the revenue streams is just 1/9 of the part. I often use a tool called the business model canvas when I work with companies to get them to understand that the business model is more than the revenue stream. In the middle, you have your value proposition. That's the value that your products and services should create for your customers. You have your customer segments, of course, and somewhere along the line, you have the relationship that you would like to have with your customer. It's the values that you want to have with your customers. For Cybercom, for example, we like to have long-term partnerships with our clients. We want our values to be visible in that. It's trust, innovation, and passion. The next one is the channels. How do you deliver the value to the customers? And it's everything from they don't know about the product, they discover it, they evaluate it, they buy it, they consume it or use it, and they go back to repurchase. Channels is everything of that. And then, of course, there you have it. You have the revenue streams. But to do all of this as a company, you need to do more. You have a number of key resources which are your assets that makes the difference. For Facebook, it's their huge infrastructure and user base. And then you also have the key activities. What is the essential things that you as a company do to deliver your value? And if you don't do it yourself, you have partners doing it. And that side, of course, generates a lot of costs. And hopefully, the cost is less than the revenue. So, in short, that's a business model. If we now take autonomous and look in the business model, what could happen when we introduce autonomous behavior? So, in the value proposition, I think, of course, there will be a lot of innovation in value. But I think the most important value to look for, or the value for the customer, will be less effort and time. Because today, we buy products and we spend time and effort with the products to accomplish what we want to get done. But with autonomous behavior, that effort and that time will be drastically reduced. And if we reduce the time that we as buyers or users spend with products, then the buyer and the user will most likely change. This is a huge impact to companies today, because often they know their product and they know their buyer. But if both of those change, that's very difficult. Another thing I think will change drastically is the relationship. We have gone from mass communication to more like personalized communication with the brands and companies, to having self-serve. You have everything in your hand. You can do all your banking things with your phone, and you have the control. But I think we will move backwards with autonomous behavior, because now we don't need to think, I want to do this, and I need to do it with these tools. I will just ask to get it done, and there will be some autonomous behavior taking care of that for me. So we will go into more of an assistant-like relationship that will, of course, impact both sales and support. But the other thing in the channel part, which I think will be one of the huge impact, is this, that we reduce the delivery time from that we think of thought about the physical object until we have that object. If we reduce that time enough, then that will impact a lot in all of these things that we use very seldomly, because we will no longer need to have them in our home, because when we think the thought, we will have it within enough short time. So that will be important, I think. When it comes to revenue streams, I don't see a very big impact. I see still more and more as a service. The higher cost for a product, I think, will fuel the sharing economy even more. So that's the biggest there. Key resources, of course, new competences. All of you guys and girls here in the audience, software will be very important. Data science will be very important. The algorithms will be very important. But another thing I don't think people think about so much is quality. Because if you go into autonomous behavior, where the product will work for a longer period of time, and even fueled by the sharing economy, that it will operate always, then you need to have products which has a completely different quality set. And when it comes to the activities for the companies, more and more activities will be replaced by apps, systems, or machines, and the companies or the enterprises will operate 24/7, 365 days. We will of course have new technology partnerships, and some partners we will not have any need for anymore, because that will be solved with autonomous behavior. And increased R&D cost in software, definitely. We will have less labor cost, but that will also of course generate social problems that needs to be taken care of. So there is a lot of challenges in this, but the interesting part is, if you think more than the value proposition, more than your product, autonomous behavior can fuel other sorts of innovations. So, being in Gothenburg, I couldn't resist taking a big industry here. So, automotive industry. What will happen with autonomous behavior? And I would like to change it, because it's automotive, that's what they are selling. But my value that I want is personal mobility. So if we take it from personal mobility, we can have it in two dimensions. What's happening in the market today. You have the ownership. You have a resource waiting for you. You have the identification and premium as a person owning a certain car. But on the other side, you have the sharing economy, fueled by the utilization of the car today is 4%. You also have the sustainability aspects, and you have all of these traffic problems that we have in our cities. In the other dimensions, you have the who is driving. Is human driving or is it autonomous driving? So if we take this, we are here today. It's a 100-year-old business model. It's built around OEMs, dealers, tier ones, and so on. But this is coming really strong. Here you have Uber and Lyft, of course, global players. You have Uber, who is valued more than the complete taxi business globally. They're also valued more than General Motors. So, but it's not just the new players. Volvo has their Sun Fleet. You have Mercedes with Car2Go and My Taxi. So there is a lot of players in the shared economy, and it's something that is already growing. And then we come into owned autonomy. You have Tesla a couple of weeks ago that released a software update introducing advanced driving aid, doing some autonomous driving. So all of the OEMs focus on going from high speed, taking away some of the driving. And then you have the outsider, Google, going from the different direction. No, we say full autonomy, but we limit the speed. So it's two different perspectives in solving autonomous driving. But if we combine these two trends, we get shared autonomy. What will happen then? So I will focus on that. It's a stretch case. There will of course be a lot of debate and discussion. Will owned autonomy or shared autonomy be the big market? I believe in the second, but that's my personal belief. But if I take the second and put that into a business model, shared autonomy, what will happen to the traditional OEM? They are still doing vehicles, but the vehicles is now autonomous. That means that they will move from a mass market to selling to large fleets for personal mobility. That's a completely different customer. They will have much smaller market because it will no longer be the 4% utilization rate. They will go from a dealer-centric business to having large business-to-business sales. They will go from having an indirect direct relationship, which is strong around the brand with the customers, to having no relationship at all. Because who know what brand the bus had that they took here today? I don't know, oh, now I know, it's Kuna elevator, but in general I don't know the brand of the elevator I went through. It will be large deals, maybe as a service or as a one-off. But interesting here, the dealer network will be more or less not valuable anymore. And the brand, the value in the brand maybe is not of any use. It will be the frame agreements with these big personal mobility fleets. And then of course, as I talked about before, professional quality. The cars will go maybe 25–40% of the time. Uptime will be important, working proactive with service, and maybe they will need to form new partnerships, technology partnerships, if they are not able to do the fully autonomous driving themselves. And of course, it will increase the R&D investment and switch the focus more and more to software. So, this is an extreme case for one industry, but I think it's interesting to look at it like this. So, final remarks. Autonomous capabilities are coming everywhere, I think, in small steps. As I speak to the companies I work to today with connectivity, you need to work with your complete business model all the time, combined with product and technology innovation. And look for opportunities. If you want to innovate in this segment, look for opportunities in time spent unnecessary by the customer. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Theo. Kent-Erik, do we have any questions?
No, it's crystal clear, everything.
Yes.
So no additional questions from the audience. But I have a question.
Yes.
The Canvas is an excellent tool to demonstrate and discuss and have an overview of the business model. But what I see is that the legal and the legal part is taking more and more effort.
Yeah.
And the number of lawyers involved is growing very rapidly.
Yeah.
How can you see that?
I see in some of my workshops with the companies I deal with today, we actually take in the legal department earlier in the workshops to hijack them a little bit, to be part of the process. But it's important with legal, but you can't do like Spotify did with their legal problem just a month or two ago, where they let the legal write the privacy statement or privacy policy statement, which became very problematic for them. So you need to involve legal, but you also need to be very clear, and that's not legal text, when you talk to your customers. What do you really mean?
Good.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Peter.
we have a gift to Peter as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That then will take us from legal to security. So our next speaker